Welcome to Youth Can Change the World. I'm your host, Nathan Bynum. I'm really excited for today's show. I'm going to be here with the founders of Momentum Films, Nikolai Karamyshev, Brian McTire, and Fernando Roca. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's great to have you. So I wanted to start off giving a nod to my friend Kevin Sampson, who runs Picture Lock. He starts every show with the question, how did you fall in love with film? So I'll let you guys answer that.
I guess for myself, it kind of started in the 8th grade at HB Woodlawn, the school we all attend. Just to put a name out there, we have a really wonderful film teacher, Thomas Mallon, who really, kids coming into the 8th grade, when they get their film elective, that's at least when I fell in love with it. Before, I loved like shooting little videos and having fun with it, but really turning it into a passion was when I met Tom, and he really just kept everything going and just made it so much more fun.
Wonderful. I know Tom, and he's a wonderful person to work with. I'm actually helping him judge the film festival, which you guys have some entries in.
Oh yeah, quite a few.
So I guess for me, I mostly fell in love with film, like Nikolai, in the 8th grade. I've been preparing college essays about like this, so I'm well versed in my answer.
This is a good time to interview people.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So, well, mainly it was because it's such a cool way to communicate with people, and as you can tell, I've never been like a fantastic speaker, but and I've never been the greatest writer. So I figured I need some way to communicate with my friends, my family. So film is just the best way to do that for me.
Fabulous.
Tom Mallon has definitely been the driving force for me in film, and it's with him that I've gotten to get to the kind of level of professionalism that we are at today, and Momentum Films would not have happened without a support like Tom Mallon. But where I really started getting into film and video was with the Gunston TV teacher, Harry Costner.
Okay.
I was there for 6th and 7th grade before I came to HB my first year in 8th grade. That was also Tom's first year in 8th grade. That's where I met these guys. But I'd like to give a shout out to Harry Costner.
Awesome. Harry's also a wonderful force for youth media in the area. So you guys have some great mentors.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So can you tell me about the moment when you decided to get together and form a video production community, or not a community, a video production company?
So I was actually backstage during musical rehearsal. We were doing Footloose, and there was some lady in the film room that I had never seen before, and talking to Tom Mallon, and Tom Mallon says, "Fernando, you should really come talk to this person." Her name was Linda Stahley, and she had just started. She had just started the Teen Stream International Film Festival, and this was her 2nd year, and they were looking for someone to make their promotional video, and we hadn't really worked together as Momentum yet. Momentum didn't exist. So we said, we'd meet with her, and through the process, we found out about a grant that Arlington County was giving called the Arlington Youth Philanthropy Initiative. And they were giving a grant to a high school initiative. And we were considering applying, but we didn't have an initiative. We were we would have been applying for this one video, and then we were thinking, and we said, well, this really shouldn't be a one-time thing. We're pretty good at this, and I think we should try to propose something that would last longer. So we came up with Momentum Films, spent hours thinking of a name.
Long brainstorm session.
Oh yeah, that was a while. Sitting in front of my computer.
We would Google names to see if they were taken.
Nice. Wow. So Momentum Films is not out there. You are the Momentum Films.
Well, we've run into a few other Momentum Films, but
we follow them on Vimeo.
Nice. Nice.
It's funny because I actually remember the one time I was just talking to Fernando, in school was almost over, and he said, "Oh yeah, I have to go to this thing at Starbucks after school. I have a meeting." I was like, "Oh really? Do you want me to come with you?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure. You can come with me. Why not?" And that's when we went and met with Linda Stahelli in the Starbucks, and then she told us about the grant, and we were like, "Oh, this makes sense.
That's a good idea.
Let's keep going with this." Yeah.
That's where we walked out, and we were like, we just made a company.
Yeah. It's the moment we realized we took it a step too far.
Wow, that's amazing. So if you had to go skateboarding or to have a basketball game that day, then you wouldn't have been able to do it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy to think about.
You got to say yes sometimes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Nikolai, do you have a similar memory of this?
Yeah. I remember that I was out doing something on the day of the meeting, but then right after I got texts from these guys like, hey, we're making a company. Like, get on this. We're all meeting up, coming up with a name. We're making a Vimeo page. This is happening. And then we're all like, yeah. So it was a really
awesome.
amazing experience.
Nice. So can you talk to me about your first project that was as Momentum Films?
So our first project that we met with people about and we started filming and stuff was Linda Staheli's Teen Stream project. But that wasn't the first film we made. The first film we made was an organization called Voice, and they work for, right now they're on a campaign to promote affordable housing in Arlington because the housing costs have become really great and many people can't live in Arlington. That
great is inexpensive.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not great. And they had
like the Great Wall of expense.
Right.
and they had a county forum coming up, and they said we would love to show, because everyone gets 2 minutes to speak at a county forum, but they talked with them and they said they would be allowed to play a 2-minute video instead. So they told us, do you think you could maybe do something in 2 minutes? And we were like, sure. So we had no idea what we were gonna do, and then I was just talking with one of the janitors at school about it. His name was Marcos, and he told me he had to live in Springfield, which is like a 40-minute commute in the mornings, and his hours of janitor they're not fun hours. And
Big shout out to Marcos Rubio.
Yeah, Marcos Rubio.
And to this day, we're all kind of friends with him now.
Oh,
What was
yeah.
the name of that?
His
that
name's
piece?
Marcos Rubio, but it's with an O, not a U. So,
Nice.
yeah.
What was the name of the piece? Do you remember the title of the?
Yeah, it was going to be part of a series that we're kind of still working on a little bit.
Okay.
So it was the Affordable Housing series.
Nice.
Marcos Rubio. That was the name of the episode. And the film was actually made in a span of 2 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
really
no
funny
kidding.
because we had
Because I've seen it, and you have a lot of shots in that.
Yeah, we had been warned ahead of time about it, but kind of being high schoolers, we procrastinated, and then it was basically the day before it was due.
It was due on Monday, and we started filming on a Friday, and we had to get it done by end of Saturday so that they could see it on Sunday.
That's
And so
crazy.
we stayed after school and filmed with Marcos, and he was nice enough to say, hey, I will start vacuuming and doing other things to help set up shots for you guys. And it was great because then Friday we took that, then we went to my house on Saturday, and kind of Saturday and Sunday just all day editing and just pushed it through.
It's like a 48-hour movie.
And
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
to this day, it's our favorite film
Yeah.
Wow.
we've
Definitely.
made.
So the lesson is that you should procrastinate.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, let's check out the film.
Me llamo Marcos, vengo de Springfield, trabajo para el condado de Arlington, aquí en la escuela SB. Y se me hace difícil a veces todos los días viniendo de Springfield a Arlington, porque a veces el tráfico es bien unos 45 minutos, a veces 1 hora, depende del tráfico que tengamos. Pero así hacemos todos los días. Sí, yo viví en Arlington hace unos 10 años. Cuando yo viví en Arlington, no era tan caro como a comparación hoy en día. Hoy en día lo que está caro más en Arlington, como dije al principio, son las rentas. Claro, yo sería uno que me gustaría vivir aquí en Arlington porque es todo céntrico. Tenemos los buses, tenemos el metro, todo esto. Pero como dije primero, hay mucho cosa más cara aquí en Arlington que en otros lados, como Springfield. La renta lo hace como yo, que soy de bajos recursos, moverlos a otro estado buscando un poquito mejoría, dijera yo, para ayudar a nuestros hijos a ir a la universidad, porque eso es lo que queremos, que los muchachos hoy en día vayan a las universidades para que sean preparados para que en el futuro estos muchachos vengan a hacer lo que, como el señor Tejada está haciendo, la tiene Arlington y lo está haciendo muy bonito. hay muchos, esperamos que los ayudemos unos a los otros para ver si se puede contribuir a algo mejor para Arlington.
Nice. Wow. I love it every time I see it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Part of what I love about it is that it really brings him to life. You know, you start to care about Joe?
Marcos.
About Marcos, I'm sorry. Yeah, you really start to care about Marcos, and I just really appreciate that you have that, have that happening in a real way. And he's the whole voice for the entire film. You know, you're not telling his story for him. You're obviously editing and you're obviously constructing a story out of what he said, but he's the one who's telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
That one of the elements of the film that we decided to keep was the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it'd be fuller. He offered to do it in English, but we didn't think that was the right way to go, and we thought it'd be more full if it was in his native tongue of Spanish. Mm-hmm. And he was really great. He was really great to work with, really open about it, because one of the things we were worried about was we don't want to humiliate him. We don't want kind of to portray him as like some poor dude. We wanted just to tell a story, and he got that. And the shots of the commute in the car, he said, well, you guys, if you want, get in the back of my pickup truck and we'll do 2 laps around HB. And so
That was really fun, yeah.
we did that.
That's awesome.
That was great.
That's awesome. So that was his idea.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because it makes sense that this would be one of our like first films, well, the first film that we made as Momentum,
Right.
together, because it really kind of set the bar kind of high for the rest of our films,
right.
in the sense that like we don't want to make just like, you know, corporate nonsense that like people are going to watch and they're going to be like, oh, okay, great, you did that. We want to make stuff that tells a story, or tells people's stories, more importantly, because that's like the main initiative behind like Momentum, is that you want to be able to tell people's stories. I believe your motto here at AIM is like giving a voice to
Raise your voice.
Yeah, raising your voice and giving a voice to people who can't really express it.
Yeah.
And like Fernando said before, whenever I see Marcos in the hallways now, I'll always say hi and get to talking a little bit. And it's great to make those relationships. People that otherwise wouldn't be able to express themselves or present the problems that they face. If we can give them a voice, if we can present those problems to the community, then I think we're just making the world a better place. And that's what it's all about. That's all we want to do, is make people's voices heard.
It sounds like it enriched your life as well.
Definitely.
To get to know Marcos.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's so many people that you walk by and don't take the time to look at as another human being and be present to. And at least I think a lot of people fall into that trap. And this not only helps Marcos get his word out, but obviously there's many people, I don't know, thousands, millions, whatever, who are being priced out of neighborhoods. So it's a really common problem. So it's helping those people as well. Also, it's helping people to do what you did and reach out and learn something from someone that you wouldn't necessarily think to learn something from. Well done. So,
Thank you.
Speaking of all these amazing things that you did with your first film as Momentum Films, have you been recognized at all in the community? Because I'm guessing it's pretty uncommon for there to be a film company of high school students.
Nikolai can take this one.
So I guess one way in which we were recognized in the community was a film that we helped produce pretty recently, but it had been a long project. It had taken about a year to create the film Living with MS. We were approached by Heather Jeff, a woman with multiple sclerosis and an activist for raising awareness. She wanted to create a film that was really telling the truth behind multiple sclerosis, and so we said, yeah, we were definitely ready. She had gotten estimates from other filmmakers that were ridiculous amounts of money, and we were doing it for a much lower price, and so that was really appealing to her. And then through everything, meeting a bunch of new people, hearing really interesting stories, we got to have a premiere of the film at the Arlington Cinema and Draft House.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did that already happen? Or
Yes, it did already happen. And it was just an amazing experience getting to be there with the community, a packed house.
Wow.
Our parents actually had trouble getting in because there were so many seats sold. And
you need to give them a family pass.
yeah, exactly.
We didn't think we needed to buy
tried.
tickets.
But yeah, that was one instance of us being kind of recognized within the community.
That's amazing.
And that Marcos film got screened at the Forum.
Oh, yeah?
It ended up getting played, and it's been selected in several film festivals since then. The Wiper Film Festival.
The Brighton Youth Film Festival in Britain and the Visionaria Film Festival as well.
That's amazing. Have you guys traveled to these places?
No,
we
unfortunately
have
not.
not. No,
Yeah.
it's
Want to take a day trip to Britain?
That'd be nice. Yeah.
exactly.
Momentum's paying for it.
It's all right.
Yeah, doesn't that on the travel budget?
Well, I believe a bunch of our films have also gone just recently into the Arlington Student Film Festival, which shout out again to Tom Mallon for
And to Nathan Bynum.
and to Nathan, good,
I
helping
help him with
judging.
judging.
For creating like this film festival where students and teenagers can like express themselves and show off their films and their talents, and Momentum's definitely got a presence there, so it's cool.
A very strong presence, I know, because I judged all these films. I was like, oh boy, another Momentum film. So how about we take a look at the multiple sclerosis film?
Sounds great.
Ready.
Heather, interview, take one.
When I first had my first symptoms of optic neuritis, one of the home health care nurses came in and very cavalierly said, I've never seen a patient with optic neuritis who didn't have MS. And I thought, wow. And I said, well, this is the first time. Here I am. It's me. I don't have MS. And she was like, yeah, sure you don't.
Numbness in my feet and my hands were my first symptoms.
I had very slurred speech, but basically I sounded like I had marbles in my mouth.
When people get an MS diagnosis, that's one of the first things they ask, what should I change in my life? And I say nothing. Again, I don't want people to live their lives as if they are putting MS first and foremost. It should always, always take a backseat. It should never be given that kind of power.
So currently, it's really interesting. This was our first film to ever be sent off to be professionally mixed. Heather Jeff, the producer, and one of the women interviewed, got into contact with a person in the DC area who professionally mixes films, and so we got to do that.
And
so
also,
currently,
I think if you notice some sound miscalibration, I think that was just in the playback here. So
Okay.
don't worry about that.
and so the film actually was a series of vignettes of each of the people interviewed and a kind of large form piece about MS as a whole. Right. And so for the premiere, they were all combined into one long form 20-minute film. And so that was all professionally mixed by a man named Brenton. And so currently we're waiting back to have the kind of official file of it so we can put it up on our Vimeo page, but soon enough it should be on the Momentum Films Vimeo page, and I believe Find Your Inner Pace, the blog of Heather Jeff, the producer, it will also be there.
Nice.
And that was an NBA player, by the way.
Chris Wright. Chris Wright. That was an amazing story.
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
So-
well, whatever you're able to tell without spoiling it, of course.
All right, so Chris Wright, who is shown in the film, was, I believe, the first player in the NBA to be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And so he actually played his college basketball at Georgetown here in DC, so he's a local guy.
Nice.
Which is really, really cool. And Heather was able to come in contact with him. I believe he's either playing in the Italian or the Turkish league now. And he flew over maybe for other business, but happened to be ready for an interview as well. And so we got to talk to a person who played in the NBA, which was really just an amazing experience.
He was great.
It was really cool
So
talking
nice.
to him. It was really funny because we, the three of us, this was still relatively early on with Momentum. We were all like fanboying over this, and like, oh my gosh, you're the coolest person we've ever interviewed.
Yeah.
Can we get a picture for Instagram? Can we get a picture for Facebook?
Nice.
And he was really cool about it. He was like, yeah, sure, you guys, no problem. It was just a really
All
cool
right.
experience.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So did you find out anything from him that surprised you about playing in the NBA?
Well, it was something interesting because he found out about it, I believe, when he was in Turkey at one point. And so talking about playing a professional sport with a disease that to some can be crippling, it was just amazing to see that he can persevere and overcome that. And I think that's the point of the film. Most of the people interviewed are athletes. And so they're just showing that you can persevere and you can overcome multiple sclerosis. And like we really wanted to show the reality of it and what people can actually achieve. And it's really an amazing story.
That is amazing. And in some ways it's related to the film with Marcos because it's also about imagining what another person's life is like and creating empathy.
It definitely like fits into the category of like giving people a voice because one of the things that Heather, the lady who hired us, told us originally when we went to her was that multiple sclerosis is presented in the media like Nikolai said, as a very crippling disease.
Right.
But the reality is that, like the doctor said in the video, that if you just live your life like healthy, you have a healthy diet, you exercise, you can fight through it. And it's just another thing that people didn't have the voice to say that before. And Heather, this amazing woman, just contacted us and told us, hey, I have a voice and I wanted to be heard.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah.
And when she approached us, she was like, how much are you charging? Because that was one of her concerns.
Yeah.
We said, look, don't worry about that right now. We want to work with you. This is a great project. We're going to make the film. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And it worked out in the end. We told her we'll accept whatever donation you feel comfortable giving us. And she gave us a third of the profits of the draft house.
It's very nice of her.
Which was around $1,000.
That's great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
It's amazing. It's wonderful when you can ask people to give out of generosity,
Right.
and when it works out, and they kind of are able to show you how much they appreciate what you've done.
Right.
And that's definitely one of the main things about Momentum is whenever we're talking to clients, it's all about either free or a reduced charge because like we said before with giving people a voice, a lot of these people can't pay to have their voice heard. So we provide a very cheap, even free sometimes, venue for them to give their voice.
Right.
Speaking of venues, is there anywhere that people can go in the near future, any events that might be happening where people might be able to see you guys? Or
Well, the Arlington Student Film Festival, again, shout out to the Arlington Student Film Festival.
Absolutely. Tom Mallon.
You can show up there. All three of us will be there. Some of us will be running the snack bar, I believe.
Jeez, talk about doing everything. I think it's bad when I run the camera and the microphone.
So yeah. If you want, you can find us there. Definitely a bunch of our films will be screening there as well. So.
Awesome. And is there a website that people can check you guys out on?
There is not a Momentum Films website as of
But
this
there is
moment.
a Vimeo channel,
There is
right?
a Vimeo channel, and there is a Facebook page as well.
That's
And
wonderful.
if you just type in Momentum Films,
It should be.
two will come up because we're not the only one. But the one with
They
the,
stole the name.
the one with the circle logo.
The one with the
Yeah,
circle
okay.
logo.
The one with the cooler logo.
Yeah, which is actually an O, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. The O, the circle is an O. Nikolai was sharing that with me earlier.
Yeah, just a certain font I found in Premiere had an O that looked like that, so the basis of our logo is just an O.
It's a great logo.
It's not just
it's right down there, I think.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
He's not just a film editor, he's a graphic designer as well.
That's pretty awesome. You can put all kinds of things on your resume. So I did want to talk to you guys about the future of Momentum Films.
Of course.
Because obviously at this point you're offering your services and accepting generosity back. But what's the future look like in terms of how long this is going to be sustainable, and do you want to keep going beyond high school, or even just next year? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I know that our teacher, again, Tom Mallon, was this was one of his main concerns when we first told him we're starting Momentum Films. He said, well, a couple years, you guys are going to be gone. You guys are going to be on different sides of the country doing who knows what in college. And so he was the one that really drove us to find a way to make it sustainable, and so that he could keep this going after we leave, because it's a great program, making films for communities, and it's a great way for students who maybe they're only interested in film to put something on their resumes for college, stuff like that. So I know Nikolai and I recently, HB Woodlawn had a thing called Community Day today, and it's when all the different students go out and do some kind of community service project. And so Nikolai and I, we led a community service project as Momentum Films, and we brought 4 students along, because we also sort of teach one of the film classes at HB. So we got 4 students from there, pulled them aside, said, "You're not going anywhere on Friday, you're coming with us." We all took them on a leash. And
they still have those at school?
Yeah. So we all took them to a school up in Northeast.
It was a DC bilingual public charter school in Northeast, and it was an amazing experience, because we have these 4 students, 2 8th graders, 2 7th graders at HB, and they've expressed a ton of interest in filmmaking. And so when we gave them the opportunity to come along with Momentum Films and help make a documentary for the Educational Theater Company, they were super excited, and it really made us proud, about how we will be able to continue going forward, and it's a bright future for Momentum Films, which is really exciting.
No, that's really exciting.
And sort of pass it all on.
And also,
so Momentum Films will exist still here when you are gone.
Yeah.
And one thing is, we don't really want to have it just closed for HB students, and I think Fernando can talk about kind of spreading to Gunston and other schools.
Yeah, we're trying to get kids, because right now HB and Momentum, it seems like only HB kids can be in Momentum, and we want to break from that. We know some children at Gunston who are interested. Some WNL kids might be. And we want to really make this an Arlington thing.
It's awesome.
Where kids can say, this lady approached me to make a film, but I can't do it by myself. And there's a support group, Momentum, that can say, all right, we'll take this on with you. We'll do this. And that's kind of the best case scenario. That's what we hope for.
That's really exciting. Yeah. So making it an Arlington thing that grew out of HB, Tom Mallon, you guys were the first iteration of Momentum Films, and you'll be passing it on. You guys have figurative film children all over Arlington County. That's pretty amazing. Wow. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Really great to talk to you guys.
Great time.
I learned a lot, even though I know you guys already. And it's just always fun to see you guys and talk about film, and talk about what you're doing, and also talk about making the world a better place, which really impresses me about all the films that you guys do.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining me on Youth Can Change the World. I hope you had as much fun as I did talking with the founders of Momentum Films. If you would like to contact them to get them to work on your project, contact them at momentumfilmsemail@gmail.com. Thanks again for joining me on Youth Can Change the World, and I'll see you out there in the community.